All right, good morning, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. We're going to be getting started real soon. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you've been having a good trading week. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education, information purposes only, without any expression or imply warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Please feel free to read this. That way you know I'm not a financial advisor. This is not advice. This is all for education purposes only. Great, good stuff. Getting rid of this. Hey, so we've been starting off all of these streams lately with kind of a review of the templates, and I really like that theme and kind of going along with that because it, when we go into the analysis part and I make references to all these different things, I think it'd be making it a lot more simple or a lot easier to understand for people that maybe are new to the streams or things like that if I do it this way. So, and also it's just good to hear it over and over again, regardless of if you're new or if you're, more experienced or whatever. It's good just to see this stuff over and over again. So we're going to start out doing these kind of reviews, probably most streams, but we'll see. And I've kind of just drawn this out. And again, removing all of the fancy terms and phrases and all kinds of other stuff from this to try and make it a lot more simple to understand, right? If you remove the 3-day cycle, if you remove all of those terminology pieces from this, and you've just got a little picture on the screen, it kind of like, I don't know, it just makes it a lot easier to understand. I think that's my opinion. So what I've done is I've drawn day 1, 2, and 3, right? I've removed everything else and I've put the names of what they are up there, but these are the templates that I'm looking for, regardless of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or 3-day cycle, or any of those things. These are the style of charts that I'm looking for when I come to the screen each day, right? So signal days, inside day, 3 days of breakouts, first red, first green day. Those are the things, the heartbeat patterns, the outside days, the signal days. And then you're trying to find, or I'm trying to find these templates over the course of 3 days. These heartbeat patterns, you might have heard Stacey or Burke refer to these as the 3-day rectangle, the day zeros. First red and first green day, large pumping day, a day that turns into a first red, and then the continuation of that can be either be a trend trade or a reversal trade, depending on the context of what the market is doing. 3 days of breakout, the market is pulling in one direction, and they're triggering in traders at the high or the lows of the previous day. And then on that third day, or maybe even the fourth day after they've trapped volume up high or down low, getting that large reversal. And I actually had a question yesterday about, is 3 days longs or shorts or 3 days breakouts the same thing? It doesn't look the same, but it's doing the same thing. All right, so I'm looking for the exact same thing. If they are triggering the previous day's high over and over again without triggering the previous day's low, but they're not closing in breakout, they're not closing outside the previous day's range, it doesn't matter. You're just kind of arguing over details at that point. The most important thing to me is that on that third day or that fourth day, do I get this lower low so that I can look for the reversal trade? That's the only thing that really matters to me when they're pulling like this in one direction. I have to wait for that lower low or the higher high, depending on the direction of the market. And then I would look for the reversal. So inside days. On these inside days, you can either have a trend trade or you can have a reversal trade. All right, so if I've drawn this kind of weird over here, but just imagine that we have a previous day's high and low, and then you get a breakout day. So I've drawn that as 1, all right? This would be like breakout day 1 or something like that. By breakout day 1, I'm referring to maybe the market was going down, and then the market broke out of a previous day's high and closed, and then I've just drawn a box here and put a 1 in there. All right, and then on the second day, you have an inside bar or an inside day. They've closed on the inside of the previous day's high and low, and that's what this is supposed to be dictating here. And then on day 3, you would look for higher highs, higher lows, something along those lines. Maybe we triggered previous day's low, which would trigger in inside bar breakout traders at the low, and then that would put inside bar traders at the high, and you could take that trade off of the previous day's low. It's in breakout to the upside, so it still remains as a trend trade back towards the high of the day, probably the high of the week or something like that. You could also have maybe a breakout of the inside bar. So it could break out of the inside bar and pull back into the session for the trend continuation, again, up through the high of previous day. It could be a range expansion of this bar. So we have the inside day. You could take the distance from the high and the low and measure that as a range expansion target. You could also have a reversal. And with these reversals, there's a multitude of different kinds of reversals, but the ones that I really like to see is when you get this 3 nicely stair-stepped price action up into the high or down into the low, and then they trigger the high or the low at a certain time of day. So like they trigger it at 9:30, or maybe in the first hour, the second or third hour, it doesn't matter, of New York, or whatever session you're trading. If you get this sort of price action pattern, 3 pushes into the high or 3 pushes into the low, I really like to see that. I like taking 33 trades off of these patterns. Those are the ones that I find the most reliable. Now, there are others, of course, where you can find, they're just working down here. There's a lot of different variations, but this is my favorite variation, and that's why I have listed that one. And then the heartbeat pattern, I'm not going to go much. I'm kind of at the end here, but I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, the review. Heartbeat pattern, so you could have peak formation high, peak formation low. Some of you have seen that tips and tricks slide that I've got, where I said in one of the points, peak formation high on a Monday, peak formation low on a Tuesday, basically breaking out of Friday's high, breaking out of Monday's low. It could be breaking out of Friday's low, breaking out of Monday's high. It doesn't matter which order. It's just the idea of getting this pattern. We have peak formations at the high and the low of the current week now. And then on day 3 or on that third day, looking for short squeeze, long squeeze, parabolic channels, things like that to get the trade. Now, I didn't include this, but I should have, so I'm going to do that now for anybody that maybe wants to take a picture of this. If you want to adjust your picture, I'm going to put a 3 here, and then I'm going to put a /4. What the /4 is referring to is sometimes you don't get the trade on the third day. And you need to watch for that fourth day, because this could turn into a 4, kind of almost like a 4-day rectangle. And then on the fourth day, it'll go a lot of times. And now I have done that over here. So this heartbeat 3-day rectangle over here, this is an outside day. So I'll put this OD, outside day. Basically, or just an outside bar, right? That's what outside day means. It's an outside bar on a daily chart. This bar has hit both sides of the previous day's range and then pulled back up into the previous day's range. So let's say that the previous day was, I'll just say Friday. It doesn't matter what day, okay? I'm using this as an example. The previous day was Friday. On Monday, they spiked the high of Friday, they spiked the low of Friday, and then the day closes on the inside of Friday's range. All right, outside bar, peak formation high, peak formation low. Now on the second day, it could honestly go all in that one day, or it could go on the third day as well, and that's why I put 2/3. Sam, I'm doing pretty well. I hope you're doing well as well. That's a lot of wells in one sentence. Whatever. Anyways, moving on. So that's kind of the review. These are the templates that I'm looking for. There's lots of different variations of these templates. It's not always going to look exactly the same. However, the things that I'm looking for based off these templates is always going to remain the same. The candles won't look exactly the same. There's going to be variations of the theme, but the overall, theme is still going to be there. First red, first green day, it has characteristics. First green day or first red day, a large pumping day, a day that opens, puts in its highs in the morning, makes lows in the afternoon. First red day on day 3, I'm going to look for the first red day trade. Same thing, I could flip this over, make it into a first green day. 3 days of breakout, I'm looking for the lower low or the higher high, basically structural breaks. I'm waiting for that first pullback so I can get in. Inside days, trend trades or reversals, I've already gone over these, but looking over, same thing. And then I'm using my playbook. This is all variations of those themes, and I've got them, and I highly encourage all of you to go and list these out for yourself. Make something just like this. Put your different scenarios over there. These are the variations of the theme. The theme remains the same, but I've got different variations. Go and make yourself this in a note card fashion, so that way you can have it out on your desk. You can have it with you at all times. Put it in a little binder, whatever you need to do, so that way you know exactly what you're looking for every single day, and that's going to keep you far more patient, and that's going to keep you a lot of times from that fear of missing out, that feeling of, that's where fear of missing out really comes from, is like, I don't really know what I'm looking for, but that candle looks good, so I'm going to chase it. Of course, you don't feel like you're chasing it in the moment, but, in hindsight, you're going to be like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. So, all of that being said, the review has now been complete. Let's go to the actual week itself, and we can start taking a look and seeing, how is this week setting up? Does any of these pairs match one of those playbook opportunities? Should I be watching this pair for today? Now, I'm going to put a lot of details up on the screen, and those details doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be looking for a trade on this pair. I'm only putting those details up there so that I can have that good attention to detail. I can list these things out and make a decision towards the end if I want to actually watch these. Good morning to you as well, Polly. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on NASDAQ. I'm looking at a 15-minute chart. You can do your analysis on a 1 hour. You can do it on a 30. I choose to do it either on a 15 or a 1 hour. It doesn't matter. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday was a breakout day. Tuesday was an inside day. And then Wednesday was a reversal day. Really big reversal day. This was FOMC. All right, large breakout day. Now, I actually did take a trade yesterday on US 30. So, part of the playbook, again, this is one of those things. Was it US 30? I'm going to have to go back and double No, it was the NASDAQ. Excuse me. It was the NASDAQ. All right, so the NASDAQ has, been breaking out. Let me go back and double check this. There we go. The NASDAQ has been breaking out to the upside, and this is the first week where they've triggered previous week's low. This was yesterday. All right, so realistically, an up-moving market that has broken down, yes. However, we're in an up-moving market based off of the weeks of breakouts and things like that. So that was my thought process going into this trade. All right, we're in breakout to the upside. This is the first week that we have triggered previous week's low. So an up-moving market that possibly has broken down. And then my biggest cue, my biggest thing to look at was this right here. And then where this market had opened, which was right here. So this is an extremely large down close day. So go back to the playbook, and then I'm going to scroll up here. Again, I'm using variations on a theme. I'm looking for certain patterns based off certain things. We're in an up-moving market, and we had a very large day of decline. All right, very large day of decline. And that was my whole idea for that trade. So this very large day of decline, I am now going to possibly be waiting for and looking for. Realistically, you could be looking for a short trade, a trend continuation trade, but also I'm looking for this. And this is why I'm looking for this, is because a lot of times when you have these really large down close days, you have a squeeze on the next day, catching people trying to continue that trade down towards the low. And a lot of times those are going to come off of closing price. All right, so out of the three indexes, the NASDAQ was the one that fit the bill, or the one that fit the most. Now, I had to wait until after the session ended, which is something I don't usually do. But I waited. I was patient. Okay, so we made this higher high. We did break down and make a lower low. I was still waiting for this. Each time we came down, it really wasn't going anywhere, which is why I stuck around and waited. Leg one, leg two, I saw this leg three. We got the engulfment. And then it slammed back down. Now, this is where I made the decision that I wanted to keep watching, was this bar right here. Because that bar closed right at the low. Right at this push to low. 1, 2, 3 in leg two. So we got 1, 2, 3 in leg two, or excuse me, in leg three. This could be where they're trapping volume down here. And then this bar closed right here, which means that they could be continuing to trap volume and maybe even double bottom. So I waited a little bit longer, and this is where I got extremely interested on this bar right here. And this is where I ended up taking this trade to go long. And it doesn't look like this is much, but this is actually a fairly significant move, even just from here to right here, over 100 pips. So this trade was over and done with in 5-10 minutes, and I was pretty happy with it. I just closed it and was done. But if you look at these other playbook opportunities, this one was set up a little bit different compared to something like this where it squeezed and went vertical in the session. Here, we were making higher highs and higher lows, and it squeezed and went vertical in the session, which is really what I was looking for. This one was more of the variation that I ended up taking, but it was still a little bit different. This is kind of that double bottom variation, but still, this was making higher highs and higher lows, and mine was not, which is why I was so quick to get out. But this was making higher highs and higher lows and ended up squeezing for a trend back through or back to, and you can kind of see where this went back to the close. This going back up to, it looks like, this high, previous day's high, failed breakout level. Same thing over here. So again, variation of the theme. I think this was probably the closest to what I was taking. Mine was still a fairly counter trend. Yeah. Sam, why didn't you take or consider a short? I did. I actually ended up taking this short right here on this bar. I took 30 ticks and got out because it wasn't behaving correctly, so I wanted to wait a bit more. But yeah. And I'm glad I did get out because this turned into a pin and I would have got hemmed up pretty good. Or at least got stopped out. All right, so all that being said, this has nothing to do with analysis for today. I just wanted to share with you all that trade that I took yesterday. Let's go back to, I'm going to go back to this. Clean everything up. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Very large day of decline. Breakout day 1 to the downside. So let's label that. Okay, this is the first day that they have broken out in the opposite direction. We were breaking out to the upside. Oh, you got to be kidding me. All right. All right, BO does not stand for body odor. That stands for breakout. All right, we're going to put that up there. And that's this level here. And then we got this inside day. Yesterday was an inside day, so let's get that detail up there as well. Okay, well, this is interesting. We have day 1 breakout. All right. Oh, come on. Let's go. There we go. So we've got day 1 breakout. And then we get an inside day. And then on this day, we might be looking for a trend continuation. All right. So let's go back to the chart. We got a day 1 breakout. We have an inside day. And now we may be looking for a trend continuation. All right, so let's get the range expansion tool up there and talk about what would I actually want to see in order to take this trade. Number 1, usually I want to be taking this from levels, all right? So by usually, I mean I do. That's just the truth. That's all I want, which would have been previous day's low in this case, breakout, pullback, continuation. Or maybe they pin down through the low and pull back, and then I can get the pump and dump trade from up here. So like for going from the inside after they've already triggered the low to go vertical down. I've heard Stacey call this the snow plow. They snow plow the low of the day and then pop back up and you get the pump and dump for the range expansion down. That would be ideal. That would be the perfect opportunity or the textbook perfect for me for this trade. Now, what has actually happened, or what is actually happening on the day, is we've broken down or we've broken out, and the trade was possibly in London. All right, we've broken down. We've got 1 session outside of the previous day's range. We have session 2 outside of the previous day's range, and now we're session 3 down, chasing the move down into maybe push 3, leg 3 of this move down. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to continue to go down. This could expand and continue to expand down quite far. All right, we've got another full expansion down here that we could be reaching for that. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I think this is going to go back up today. All I'm saying is this is evolving into, and something that I want to be well aware of and looking for possibly, is that we have 3 sessions now outside of a previous day's range on day 3, and we're at the low of the current week. So one of the trades that I like to look for, and I will be looking for, is 3 sessions of drop on day 3, and I would be looking for a low of day opportunity. So if we work back down into the low of the day, preferably we make a higher high. We've got the ramp. All right, we've got the base. We've got the space. Okay. Do. All right, so this is evolution of a template. And it just, oh no, I've put space where base is supposed to go. And no one yelled at me. That's crazy. All right, it's fine. We got base, space. We got the ramp. Now I'm going to show you what I'm referring to. What in the world is this guy going on about? Base, space, ramp. All right, so this is 3 weeks of breakouts. That's not, obviously, this is not what we're looking for right now. But what this is this 3 sessions of breakouts. So just ignore all this and ignore this. I'm looking at this right here. On the day itself, we're on day 3. The breakout was clean, so now we have space to get down to a level. They have not retested it. London puts in a base, basically a higher low, and then we get the ramp into the high. This is the order flow build up so that the market can fall back down through there very quickly. Same thing here. London puts in a base, we get space, and then we get the ramp to fall through very quickly. Same thing here, except this is a 3 peaks pattern, 1, 2, and 3. We get the base and the space. Not as much of a ramp here, but we'll get higher lows above that area. Same exact thing. So that's one of the parts that I could be looking for today, the evolution of the template. And that is what I would personally be looking for to see if that's going to play out or not. US 30. Let's go and move on, since I've spent almost 30 minutes now running my trap. All right, so US 30, a variation of the NASDAQ, except this has been going, instead of, remember the NASDAQ was going up and trending higher, this has been trending lower. In fact, I'm going to go to a 1-hour chart real quick and just double check this. All right, so this was previous week's low from this week right here. And then this was breakout week 1 right here. Now we're into breakout week 2. So we're into the second week of breaking down, making lower lows and lower highs. And we've capitulated. We've gone vertical down. Now, all that being said, don't let that affect the brain too much. I just like to point that out and kind of see where we're at, big picture-wise. So again, breakout. Then we get an inside day. So this is breakout day 1, just like on the NASDAQ. And then we get the inside day. They did not trigger previous day's high. They did not trigger previous day's low. Maybe looking for a trend on the next day. And it breaks out in Asia. We've pulled back in London. And then you get the engulfment into the new hour. Really good London session short on the NASDAQ. Or on US 30, excuse me. Breakout, pullback. Again, ideal setup. Session 1 of breakout. Session 2 of breakout. And maybe session 3. Could be maybe even a low-hanging fruit back down through the low. But this is going to be about the same. And to be honest, this is... in my opinion, I think the NASDAQ is probably better. I have a more clear variation of the theme on this one. So I'll probably be watching this one compared to US 30. And I say that a lot, and then one of them looks better than the other in the session, and I have to kind of eat my words, and that's fine, because I can't predict the future. I wish I could. It'd be really cool. Let's go to the Russell. Another pretty much variation of the exact same thing we just looked at on the other 2 indexes. All right, this one is another one that has been, let me not eat my words. Yep. We've been in breakout to the downside, breakout week 1, breakout week 2, breakout week 3. So now breakout week 3, we've capitulated down. This is previous week's low here. We've capitulated. So this is maybe a little bit different, or maybe I miscounted on the other ones. I have to go back and look. So we're into the 3rd week of breakout now to the downside. We've capitulated down. Got an inside day. And remember with these inside days, the big thing with these is, or one of the details that you can look for is that whenever one side is triggered of an inside bar, that triggers in breakout traders and you can look at the other end of the range if it turns into a reversal trade, of course. Sometimes it doesn't reverse, and that's fine. But sometimes when it does reverse and you get that good reversal trade, they'll go back to the other side of the range more times than not to hit the stops on the other side. So we've got 3 weeks of breakout. Inside day that was triggered already. Asia, session 1. London, session 2. Maybe New York, session 3. Now, also with this, they have not retested previous day's low. They've just broken out. So we have our base. A little bit of space, not much. Do we have a solid ramp? I think the ramp is probably this here. You can see this jagged 3 push pattern. Boom, boom, boom. Look how big these bars are. Big bars. Next bar, really big bar. This is saying, hey, this is going to 0. We're at $2,220 right now, but this bar says in the next couple bars, we're going to 0. And then the next bar doesn't. And then we just kind of fiddle down into the low. Yeah, that's a little weird. So maybe trapping volume down in this area. Here's the ramp. We're ramping volume into the low. Getting people to short into the low. All right, we got base, space, ramp. We're ramping down into the low. Now, this could go vertical to the downside, and all of everything I'm just saying right now would be void, and that's fine. But just in case it doesn't, and in case we start working the low of the day, now I'm prepared. All right. Otherwise, if it does go vertical, let's say, for example, in any of these, if you're going to look for a trend continuation trade, what would I want to see? We're getting the pop-up right now in the gap time. If it just sits up here in consolidation and starts to roll over, then I can take that. But I probably wouldn't. Man, I've been running my trap for a while. No one's really said much. Does anybody have any questions on the indexes that I've gone over thus far? And start suggesting some pairs. Any pairs that you want to see, maybe some currency pairs, and I'd be more than happy to go over those. Okay, let's go to oil. I see you, John. All right, I'm going to slow down here for a second. I think oil's been more in consolidation. I'm going to skip this ad for you all, so I really want you all to be able to see all this. It's also December, TR, which, things tend to consolidate a bit more. Okay, so this has not been trending. This has been in a trading range. And it's been, let me figure out where this trading range was or is. The easiest way to do this whenever this happens is turn on your previous week's high and low and figure out where the peak formations were made. Okay, so this one here, yep, there, it's right there. So notice I actually made a whole video on this. They've actually really consolidated down and made it even smaller. Let's see. Okay, so we've got this peak formation here. Did this one go? Yeah, this one went a little bit lower, so that's why this is like this. And then this one here. All right, so effectively this is my trading range here. Peak formation low, peak formation high, and we've been holding inside of this. Probably prepping for, if I had to guess, January, February. All right. Now, last week did close in breakout. And then now we're into this week, all right? I'm slowing down because I really do struggle a bit with these trading ranges, and I try not to trade them. But I'm not going to skip out on details just because I don't like trading ranges. I'm going to at least take a look. Okay, so for this week, we had an inside day on Monday. Tuesday was a breakout day 1, peak formation at the low of the week. Wednesday, peak formation high, at the high of the week. So peak low, peak high. Thursday, we traded back into the high after triggering previous day's low and reversed. Now we're in breakout day one again, but not really because we're kind of down here. I think there was a news event that just happened, so interesting. I wonder if my base space ramp is starting to maybe play out. I don't know. Please don't make a decision based off what I'm saying, but it's interesting. All right. I'm not going to lie. I really don't like this. I think I'm just going to move on. Either, number one, I can't get a grasp, and that means I just need to move on, or two, it's just in a trading range and I shouldn't be watching it anyway. Let's go to gold. Take a look at some detail here. Okay, gold is also in a trading range. We had week one breakout back over here on this day, or on this week, excuse me. Then we get an inside week, fairly close. Not quite. They triggered it up here. This is an inside week though. And then they traded back up towards the high and triggered it. And that's where we're at now. So we're basically sitting on the inside of two peak formations. This one down here, and this one up here. And then pretty much whatever template we were in for the other indexes is the same one right here. Breakout, inside day. And then the difference now is that we have the breakout, the inside day. We have not triggered previous day's high or low. So what I would need is for gold to come back to here before I can make any decision. Now, what would be great is if we get like a 3-peak stair step, boom, 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 and they trigger this, maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock, and it reverses. Great. But we'll see. That's all I can do with this one for now. We got breakout. How many days of breakout was this? 1, 2 days of shorts triggered in, 3 days of shorts triggered into the market. Hey, Ben, it's so close that it's not even worth speculating. I think it's on some brokers probably did, on some probably not. I'm just gonna. It's an inside day. At the very least, it's a narrow range day. 3. I see 3 peak. Wait, what? You see 3 peak formation lows? I don't understand. We got a peak formation down here. We got a peak formation up here. High and low of the day. Which is why I'm waiting for them to trigger one side or the other. Now, this could probably or possibly turn into a trend trade. It could reverse down into the low. It could continue to break out and go vertical towards the high. And that's where, trying to guess direction is just not beneficial. I don't want to guess direction. I want them to be at the level and then get the setup. Is Thursday first green day? No. In my opinion, no, it's not. They basically made highs in the morning and they made lows in the afternoon. That's the fact that in New York session, morning, they put in a low. Afternoon, they put in a high, but it wasn't even higher than the New York session high. All right, I'm going to take a look. Let's see here. Let's go back to, let's see, are they still zooming? Nice. At the very least, they took out that ramp. Got some fast acceleration. Now, of course, it's off the news. And I have no idea what it's going to do, but Now, again, evolution of the template, I'm going to point this out as well to help with thought process. This is continuing to evolve, and it's already doing what I wanted it to do at 9:30 at 8:30. So what if it continues to go vertical and triggers previous day's low at 9:30 or something like that? Well, do I just keep looking for the long? Probably not. That'll be like its final evolution. I'm at my target. If I were to take this trade, that's my target right there. So if I'm trying to get in at my target, that really just doesn't make sense. All right. Okay, I saw natural gas, so bear with me while I try to find these pairs. Yep, nice. I should still have some of them pre-pulled up. Ooh, I see, John, why you wanted me to watch this or look at this one. Okay, so this is nice. Let's see. Cool. So, Tuesday, day one of the 3-day cycle, number one. That's peak formation made at the low of the current week. It reversed. We got breakout day one to the upside. Breakout day two to the upside. Breakout day three to the upside. Nothing changes when I get that signal. The next thing that I'm going to look for is, can you guess it? Right? The very next thing, every single time, it should be playing in your head. 3 days of breakout, lower low on the inside. 3 days of breakout, higher high on the inside. That's the next step for that, or the next characteristic, or the next thing that I'm looking for whenever I get this. Because what I don't want to do is counter trend something that might be an extended run to the upside, right? We could just be going vertical at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at structure. That's the very next thing that I'm going to look at. I can start here on the 15-minute chart. I don't go, super crazy with it. Just there's a high, there's a low. They broke that high. They went higher. 1 bar range. They did pull back far enough, so that's good. I can use this as my new swing high. They broke that high and pulled back, which confirms this as a new swing high. But they have not broken and closed above that yet. So all I have is my swing low down here, which is also the low of the day. Now, you can go down to a 5-minute chart as well, which I do very frequently just use, the 5-minute chart as my structure since we're day trading and I'm trying to get short, fast moves. So there's the higher high and a pullback and a higher high. So I can even move this up maybe to right here. So now what I would be waiting for, or, basically seeing like, hey, is this going to complete the pattern? I want to see them break this low. I want to see them pull back in 3 pushes. And then I want to see a continuation pattern, maybe at 9:30, maybe at 10 o'clock, something along those lines. Which I think, Sam, is exactly what you just typed out. So thumbs up. Good stuff. Because otherwise, I would just be shorting into an uptrend, and that's obviously not really what I want to do. There's catching the falling knife, and then there's getting in front of the freight train, and this would definitely be possibly getting in front of a freight train, which will hurt. Okay, I'm going to go back. Let's see. What other pairs did you all say? I think I saw a pound dollar. Take a look at that. Preferably, if you all could give me some pairs that don't look exactly like the indexes, that'd be great. All right, so Wednesday, this is breakout day 1. Kind of a bigger picture context here. Breakout day 1 to the downside, breakout day 2, and then breakout day 3. It looks like it's reversed off peak formation low and gone into consolidation. Now, this is a 1-hour chart. But you can see this consolidation here really, really well. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so again, 3 days of breakouts down. 1, 2, and 3. Very next thing that I'm looking for, right? Structure. Higher highs, higher lows, lower highs. In this case, I want to see lower lows, lower highs that turn into higher highs and higher lows. So that has obviously happened over here. Excuse me. I get the higher high. That's my low. They went a little bit higher over here, so that's my low. They've gone a little bit higher again over here, so that's my low. And now they've continued to go higher. So we're making higher highs and higher lows. Not exactly the first pullback, but now we're in the session. Where would I target? Well, number one, that's tough. It's already kind of done its thing. It's already like moving. Realistically, first target is right here. Is the breakout level. That's a little close. And it's already kind of gone vertical, which makes me not really happy with it. GJ? Oh, boy. All right, Sam, this is one that I would say, what template are you looking for? I'll list off the details, but that, you know, whenever these things go vertical like this and they close really outside of the range, it's a little odd because this now could just continue to break down or it could go vertical back towards the high. Like you don't really know. Is this going to be a dump and a pump? Dump, consolidation at the breakout level in a breakout market. Are we ready to pump? So if that's what you're looking for, then great. Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so you'd be looking for the dump and the pump. Then I would say that's probably okay because this is breakout day one. Breakout day one, look for 3 levels of drop, dump, and a pump setup. That's kind of the idea, right? So we've got a few pips down. Okay, so we got 3 levels of drop coming back down. That's a pretty deep pullback, but yep, 3 boxes of 100, good. We get a peak formation possibly being made down here, possibly trapping volume. So I'd be looking at, where have they trapped that volume at? Is that valid? You get this 1, 2, 3, and then the 3 push pattern begins. So maybe like this area down here. And you can kind of see how all of the down closed bars are lining up sort of in that area. If I sold this bar, if I sold this bar, if I sold this bar, they all kind of just sit right in here. So possibly trapping volume at the low. I would say that's not an invalid idea. That's not bad. Breakout day one, it fits the bill for a playbook setup. Look for 3 levels of drop from previous day's high. First target would be high of day, in my opinion. Second target would be use the breakout level and the high of the day as a guide. And then you can use range expansion and stuff like that. The more I stare at it, the more I like it because it looks more like a squeeze. But let's see. Euro USD. What's the 5-minute chart? Before I can move on, let's go. Peak formation at the low of the day. Still making lower lows and lower highs. We're just sitting back at the high of this consolidation. I'd be very careful it doesn't just consolidate up here and break down. Anyways, let's go on to Euro USD. Oh, that's a clean chart. Now, that's just looking at the day itself, but that is a very clean. Something about a clean chart that just makes me happy, which is why I'm in the right profession, I think. Okay, inside day. We've triggered the low, and we've gone back towards the high. Can I describe clean? It's hard to describe, and that's going to really probably irritate most people when I say that. It's hard to describe what a clean chart is. When the price movements are fluent. You can see the ranges very well. They're breaking out. Yeah, and maybe there is some coiling, but you can see like very clear price patterns being formed. The candles don't have a ton of overlap. They're not slapping both sides. It just doesn't look like they are giving the entire trading community the middle finger. Everything's very fluent and fluid. It moves nicely. I would almost say think about trading books and trading anything where people have to or are cherry picking examples. When I look at the chart and I see a cherry picked example, but it's on live chart, I'm like, man, that's a clean chart. And I would say that's probably what a clean chart would look like. It looks cherry picked, but it's in real time. Anyways, let's go back to details. Inside day, we triggered one side of the range, going back towards the other. Think about, again, how many weeks have we been going down? Is this the first week? Are we in a trading range? Is 0? Okay, we've been down here hanging out. Okay, so we got a failed breakout up here. We do not have week 1 of breakouts. Now, we are broken down, but they triggered the high up here. Was this a dump and a pump? Boy. It's tough to say because they could be consolidating down low, peak 1, peak 2, peak 3, back towards previous day's high for the reversal back down. It would be basically a trend trade back down through the low. They've pinned through the low, triggering people in early. We're at the high of the day. Here's that ramped volume into the high. A little bit of acceleration over here. This is a very nice chart. I would be willing to watch this and watch how they respond either at the high of the day, which the high of the day prior to the session beginning was right here. Okay, so if the session has began and they've gone vertical with this big price pattern, if it reverses aggressively and goes vertical down, I would say, hey, this is a beautiful pump and dump. This is the pin for where the move began. Stacey Burke talks about those pins all the time. You'll start to notice the pins for the pump and dumps. There's the pin. So that's possible. Oh, my goodness. Or it could also just be inside day, first green day. It's a narrow range day, but I don't know about. It could be a first green, but it's made its lows in the afternoon, which is weird. Yeah, I would just be watching this pattern right now. See if it's going to break down, how it breaks down. But I don't think I'd be willing to go long. I wouldn't necessarily take the short, but I wouldn't necessarily be willing to go long either because of where we're at on the chart. I think that if I was going to wait for a long trade on this, I would wait for breakout day 1 to the upside, or for at least the market to trigger the previous day's high, and then I would wait for a 3-day template based off that, or a better first green day. Okay, we got about 10 minutes. US Swiss. I haven't looked at this pair in a while. Sometimes I do miss trading currencies because it gave me a lot of options. Let's see. Gave me lots of variety. All right, so we got 3 days of breakouts over here. That has continued. They trigger previous day's low and reset. 2, and then we get an inside day. Now we've reversed and triggered previous day's low. But we're not at the low of the week. So the low of the week is down here. Okay. So lay of the land. Breakout day 1, then you get an inside day. Now they've triggered previous day's low. That's like the 3-day template or the 3 days that we have that are in play. So again, I'll refer you back to this over here. Is this a variation of one of these? We get a breakout day 1. Then we go to the inside day. And then they've triggered previous day's low of the inside bar. Are we maybe looking for a trend trade? Or is it breaking down? Now, if it's breaking down, maybe it's going to break down tomorrow. Maybe it's going to break down today. I really don't know. All I can do is develop an idea and wait for the chart to, kind of prove one of those things to be true. So let's look and see kind of where we're at. It's almost 9 a.m. We got 3 peaks outside, lower lows and lower highs. I would say this is probably the most valid swing high if I had to choose. We have not broken that. We've just continued making higher or lower lows, lower highs. So I'd really wait for a higher high to be put in place, and then my first pullback. It's at the low of the day, so if this starts to come off of the low of the day, that'd be fine. But otherwise, this is a down moving market, and I would need to respect that. Joseph, I love the humor. Obviously, I meant Monday, but yeah. Yeah, this isn't crypto. We're not trading tomorrow. I know some people trade crypto on the weekends or something like that. It's whatever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this has been beneficial and useful to at least some of you. Hope you all have enjoyed this. I think that my next video is going to come out next Saturday. I'm still working on it, and I want it to be perfect. I don't want it to be rushed. Template's looking really good. The slideshow's looking really good. I think it'll be a good download for anybody that watches. So I hope you all have enjoyed. I hope you all this has been a good trading week for you. And I'm looking forward to doing the next stream every Wednesday and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And I try to upload a video every Saturday. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.